Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Today I am joined with my brother from another mother, Anthony Henderson. Anthony, thanks for joining me today.
Hey man, it's an honor. I'm in the RV, y'all.
We're in the RV.
I made it.
We're in the RV.
In the RV with Dan, the RV man.
We're just outside of Bahama Breeze, where we just had an amazing lunch.
It's delicious.
I don't know how I'm going to be able to drive after that. I may have to go back and
you
take
may
a
have
nap.
to take a little nap.
little food coma. But anyway, just second podcast I'm doing with Anthony. And again, last time we did it 1,100 miles apart, and I told him then that the next time we do one, we'll be sitting in the RV, either in his driveway or in a parking lot or somewhere. So staying true to my word, here we are.
Well, you're a man of your word. You know, a good name is rather to be had than great riches.
No doubt.
And you have a great name, and you're a man of your word. And I think that's one of the things that allowed our friendship to escalate so rapidly.
Absolutely.
You know, like you said, we were thousands of miles away from each other. You're up in Pennsylvania. I'm down here in the sunshine state of Florida. But those brief conversations that we would have, it's like, gosh, we're built from the same cloth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's good to be here, man, and actually meet you in person.
Yes, no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
that's what's so cool about what Sandy and I are doing is, you know, again, we came to know each other through Positive Coaching Alliance. We're associate trainers, just kind of waiting on the sideline for, you know, Coach Kelly and Coach Rubin to give us that call once COVID settles down here a little bit. But you know, through that great organization, we were together in some Zoom meetings, and we were talking at lunch today. The one that there was one where about 5 or 6 of us just kind of hung around after the call ended and just started, you know, talking a little bit. And you made a statement about, you know, these Zoom meetings for me are like manna, and you know, I could relate to that just immediately. And I think that's where, you know, I first said the same thing, like, hey, I think this guy's cut from the same cloth as me. So, you know, it's really cool because that was, again, kind of in the heat of COVID yet, and, you know, shutdowns, and just being able to connect with like-minded people. You know, obviously we both have a coaching background, a sports background, and, you know, I think that's the cool thing about PCA is, you know, it brings those like-minded individuals, you know, together, and, you know, that double goal coaching philosophy, you know, we were talking about again at lunch, that just how much it resonated with us. So talk to me a little bit about that first, about how, when you first, you know, heard about PCA, how you knew it was a good match for Anthony.
Well, you know, being a youth sports coach, you know, it's something I've been doing for many years, Dan. You know, I'm actually certified in 4 sports, soccer, volleyball, football, and basketball. And so, you know, I basically coached my children initially. That's kind of how I got into the coaching world, like most of us, you know, coaching your child. But I've always, you know, being a former athlete myself, I knew some things I liked and some things I disliked. I knew how to get results. Well, I felt I did anyway. And so, you know, when I had an opportunity to participate in a PCA workshop, Positive Coaching Alliance workshop, I'm sitting in the audience. I'm like, man, have they been to my practices? You know, have they, you know, been spying on me? What's going on here? And it was like everything just was really going on. What's so ironic is one of my assistant soccer coaches, I blessed him with the book, the Double Goal Coaching book, for Christmas one year. And after he read it, he was like, Coach, you know, I see where you get all this stuff. I was like, no, I just got the book. You know, this stuff I've been doing for years. But, you know, again, you know, like great minds think alike. And these are just basically success principles to bring out the ultimate best in our student athletes.
Right.
So,
no, I agree. And I was the same way. With my old organization, I heard about PCA, I got the book, read through it, and again, I thought to myself, wow, like, I could have written this book. Like, just it lined up so much. So we ended up booking a couple workshops with him, and then when, you know, Sandy and I decided we were going to, you know, close one chapter and open a new one, you know, I reached out to Brandon Whiting and you know, said, hey, I want to become a workshop trainer. How do we go about that process? So
right.
It is really cool to kind of see, you know, that connection. And again, that's how we initially, connected, and then as our friendship grew and we, texted each other more and more and talked on the phone more and more, we also kind of found another common denominator of just really, seeking out the humanity in others. So, tell me a little bit about your human philosophy.
My human philosophy, Dan, and it may sound extremely cliche, it's the golden rule: treat others how you'd like to be treated. It doesn't matter their skin color, it doesn't matter their socioeconomic background, it doesn't matter their religion, their spirituality or lack thereof. Treat people how you would like to be treated. And what I'm seeing as a 51-year-old, minority, who's dealt with racism, who's dealt with prejudice and social inequities and things of that nature, it's something that I'm accustomed to as a minority. A lot of blacks especially are. You're accustomed to dealing with the foolery, I'm going to use that term, of this country called the United States. But what's so interesting is even at the age of 51, I find that it hasn't gone anywhere. It just has on a different suit right now. Mm-hmm. It doesn't parade around in the white hoods and the white coats anymore. Now it's in the boardrooms. Now it's the president and vice president of various companies and the shareholders and things of that nature. And so we have to be very mindful. We cannot continue to be silent and do absolutely nothing, act like it does not exist. You see, because silence is the antithesis of effectiveness. And we cannot and will not be effective as a society if we're, quiet as a church mouse. Okay, we can't be deaf mutes. Call a wrong. You know what I'm saying? No matter if it is your brother or your mother, it doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you don't no longer care about them, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And it has nothing to do with political affiliations either. I think what we see, especially today, a lot of political affiliations want to hide behind, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. This is why. Well, no, this is about humanity. Yeah. It's a human issue right now, mm-hmm. which is so much bigger.
Yeah, I agree. In our first podcast, and I missed this title for you in the introduction, but you admitted that you are the biggest hope dealer in South Florida.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
To follow up what you just said, how do we break it down to the simplest level, all right, and start, there's so much negativity out there in the world, but how do we start, in our own communities, just dealing a little bit of hope for
that
people?
Hope. Well, Desmond Tutu once said that hope is the ability to see that there is light in spite of all the darkness. All right, so there's light out there, but we have to be that light. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can't necessarily look for it in others, although it's there, and that's what attracted me to you and you to I, because we saw that light, we felt that light, we felt that presence. Okay, but we have to be the change that we want to see out there in the world. Okay, and we have to be the example, and it's not about being perfect, because none of us are. Right. All of us have unconscious biases. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Good, bad, or indifferent. We all have them. You understand? But once we become more knowledgeable of what that looks like and what it is, then we can grow, we can develop, mature as human beings, and ultimately make this world a much better place.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. And again, to just break it down, we can't wait for Washington, D.C. to make that change for us. So it's stuff like what you do on every Thursday that makes
Correct.
Your own community a better place. So just what is it that you do on every Thursday?
Every Thursday we feed about 2,000 people. We do a food distribution at Miramar Regional Park. God has blessed the city with a partnership and with Feeding South Florida. And so every Thursday, I'm out there just, giving away the food and whatever supplies they've given us for that particular week. But one of the things that I do, which I think kind of separates me from all the other volunteers, is every trunk that I close, every door that I close, before I close it, I say, have a blessed day. And once I say that, it's like the countenance of that man or that woman in the car, it just changes. Yeah. They're like, what did you say? I said, have a blessed day, sir. And because, see, blessed means empowered to prosper. Blessed means there's nothing missing and nothing broken. Now, you've been sitting in a food distribution line for 2 hours, but I'm telling you to have a blessed day. I'm letting you know that this too shall pass, and it's going to get better.
Yeah.
So just speaking life and positivity into them as well, in addition to the supplements of the food.
Yeah. So what do you personally get out of every Thursday?
What do I get? Just a feel-good feeling. I'm reminded of something that Muhammad Ali said. He said, service to others is the rent we pay for our room here on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to serve others.
Yeah.
And that's what I get out of it. I'm just paying my rent.
Yep.
That's all. Just paying my rent bill.
I love it. And again, I think we get caught up in this, this kind of, view from 30,000 feet mentality at times. And a podcast I did with Rachel Balkovich, who is actually a minor league hitting coach for the New York Yankees, and she's now in Sydney, Australia, coaching for the Sydney Blue Sox. She said, she loved the subtitle of my podcast, Many Little People, Many Little Places,
right?
Because again, it breaks it down to what we can do. And she said, if we just all go out there and do what we can with what we have, we can make a huge difference.
Yes.
And that's so important. You don't have to, make $1 million to do good in the world. You can just, take that little step and do what you can do with what you have.
What God has blessed you with.
And for you to give a couple hours on a Thursday, some people might say, well, Anthony, you fed 2,000 people or 2,000 families, but there's 30,000 families in the community that are hurting. Do you really think you made a difference?
I know I did.
Absolutely.
I know I did.
To those 2,000.
Without question. And what's so interesting, majority of the people that distribute the food on Thursdays, they're city employees. They work for the city of Miramar. And what's so strange is that many of those employees, they thought that I worked for the city of Miramar because I was there every week. And once they found out, they was like, wait, you don't work for the city? so you just come here. You're not getting paid for this? I'm like, no. But God put it in my heart. He said, son, this is something that you're available to do. So do it. So 9 months later, here we are. Yep. Yes, every Thursday, right there.
No, that's awesome. And for me personally, a lot of times I do, as much as I have pointed out that we need to look at the little things, but a lot of times I do look at what we can't do just as a human being. It's one of my flaws. It's like, when we were in Louisiana and we were helping, all these people, but yet there was a part of me that was like, but oh my God, there's so many more that we couldn't reach, and then every once in a while something comes along that just ratchets me back and says, look, you do your part, because there is somebody else out there doing their part to help those that you couldn't touch personally. And I think that's so important. After we left Louisiana, I did a blog, and I talked about a poem that my daughter had actually sent to me after I was kind of having that same venting feeling about, did I really make a difference? Did I do this? And it was the starfish poem. I don't know if you ever heard it.
Yeah, you made a difference to that one.
Yep, little boy out on the beach just picking up starfish and throwing them in the ocean, and the old man walks by and says, son, you're never going to be able to save, all these starfish, so why are you wasting your time? And the little boy's like, well, I made a difference for that one. I made a difference for this one. So how do you, again, just continue in that positive mindset, because you're such an incredibly positive person. I mean, that's one of the things I love about you. When you leave me a voicemail, I can just hear the joy coming through it. So, how do you keep that positive mindset?
Well, I have to, without being super deep or super spiritual, I just have to say Jesus. I mean, and that may seem cliche to some of you that don't know me, but that really and truly is it. The joy of the Lord is my strength. That's where I get my strength from. Do I get disappointed like everybody else? Yeah. Do I have these ebbs and flows, these ups and downs of life? Every single day, yes. But joy and happiness are two separate things. You understand?
Yeah.
Happiness depends on happenings, your situations.
Yeah.
But joy, okay, again, that's a choice. The joy of the Lord is my strength. So when I have joy, it's not about, being told no. It's not about being disappointed at the the social injustice going on in our country. No, I have joy that this too will pass and things will ultimately get better, because it's not about who's in the White House, who the president it is, but Jesus is still King of Kings. Yeah. He's still Lord of Lords. So that's where I draw my strength from, personally.
And I think it is. It's a conscious effort. It's something that you do have to wake up in the morning, because like you said, we're all human beings. We have good days, we have bad days, but you really do have to make a conscious effort to say, no, I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to shift lanes and dwell here. And I think that goes with everything in life. When it just comes to a marriage and love, like love isn't a feeling. Like we get caught up like love's a feeling. No, love is literally an act of will. I mean, because let's face it, you and your wife don't agree every single day. And
most days
in this small little RV, me and my wife don't agree every day. But then we make a decision that, no, you know what, we're going to make this work.
Absolutely.
And even I heard once somebody say, about Jesus's love, that again, that was an act of will. It's like Jesus didn't hang on the cross because it was fun. He made a decision to make that sacrifice for us. And I think that's so important, that it really is, your brain is a muscle just like every other muscle, and we've got to train it. And it'll, just like if you stop lifting weights, you're going to start looking a lot more like me than you. So you got to keep training your brain to stay on that positive track, because it won't do it just on its own. You got to keep training it and keep making those decisions.
Indeed.
And I think that's where we really got to focus on, and stop falling into these right side left, right side ditches, left side ditches, and understand that as humans, we're all probably a lot more in the middle of the road than what anyone wants to admit.
Well, we're a lot more alike than we are different.
Yes.
I mean, you're a white guy from Pennsylvania. I'm chocolate. I know it's hard for y'all to understand that, but I am chocolate. You may not be able to see that, but I'm chocolate. I'm black. Okay. I grew up in South Florida. And totally different experiences, but we both love the Lord. We love our families. We love our wives. We love our children. And he's been blessed with an amazing wife. I had the opportunity to meet her today, Sandy, for the first time.
Shared dessert with her?
Yeah, shared dessert with her. Oh, my wife's going to get jealous. Shh, don't tell her. But yeah, we shared dessert. But what he and his wife has done, I just have to say this. I got, my wife said, my mom told me, got to give people roses while they're still here. And when you went to the restroom, I talked to your wife about the job that you all have done with your kids and how it's been reflected in your grandchildren. I don't know if you remember, Dan, when you showed me that message that your grandson wrote when the George Floyd situation hit. Mm-hmm. And that, again, was another reflection of you and your character, and how you raised your kids. Because those foundational truths, those humane principles that you instilled in your kids, they did for your grandson. And he said it in his words and his verbiage, and how he was deeply saddened at what he witnessed and what all of us witnessed. Mm-hmm. And so for me, people oftentimes, they don't see things the way they are. People see things the way that we are, or the way that they are.
Right.
I don't know if you had intentions on bringing this up at all, but I feel kind of led to address the situation that happened last week up in the Capitol in Washington. It was wrong, and it was, insurrectionist. It was treason. I mean, there's nothing positive or good about it. And so for an individual to, not see that, they're seeing what they are. Okay. And so, in order for us to get beyond or move forward as a country, we have to take that look in the mirror. One thing about a mirror is it's a reflection of what's really going on, what we see.
Yeah.
So if you got broccoli in your teeth, the mirror's gonna let you know you got broccoli on your teeth. You got a booger hanging out your nose, that mirror gonna tell you got a booger hanging out your nose. All right, so we need to be each other's mirrors and just call a spade a spade. That's it.
Yeah.
Democrat would call a spade a spade. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? White is not always right. And there's some times when black is straight whack. You understand me? So call a spade a spade. And that's it. And when we call a spade, man, and stop getting to this group think, that's another thing I think we're guilty of as a country. Group think. Everybody want to be in the in crowd. Well, I know that's wrong, but I want to be in there. I want to make some more money. I want to earn this position. I want to get this title. No, that's not the way to go about it.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, that's why we're talking about it. And I think if we can get to a point again, and this was, the impetus of my original, conversations with, yourself and with Monica Livingston and Cameron Campbell and Mike Wardlow and Chris White, is to just talk, to just have the conversation. And I know Mike Wardlow brought something up when we had our podcast about, when we were growing up, it was always like, you never talk politics or religion. And Michael said, I think that is actually our problem, because we should talk about it. We should see the other view. And maybe I'll change my style of thinking a little. Maybe by having a conversation, not a shouting match, a conversation, and say, well, you know what? You are right about that. That's not right. Or vice versa. They'll say, you know what? I never saw it from that perspective. And, again, I think that whole, philosophy of don't talk politics, don't talk religion is what has led us to this polarized state that we're in today. Is that now we have trouble seeing the humanity in someone else who doesn't share the same thoughts and political beliefs or spiritual beliefs that we do. Right. So we've gotten to a point where we can't even sit down like this and have a conversation because we've now developed a prejudice simply on what side of the aisle they might be on. So it's like we've got to get to a point where we break it down and we sit down and have human conversations with each other.
Simple dialogue. Just like we're talking. And it's a conversation. And conversation is not just talking. And I think we're all guilty at times of wanting to monopolize the conversation rather than listening. Mm-hmm. And you see, God has blessed us with 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen more and talk less. Talk less. The Bible says, be quick to listen and slow to speak. When we got to listen, not just hear. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I hear you. No, but are you listening?
Right.
One of the things I love about 2021 and these past few years is that cell phone, that video, because it's made things real now. Because even as a white person, you may hear about the prejudices, you may see different things, and maybe possibly read about it. But when you see it live, it becomes a reality then. Yeah. And then you can actually feel our pain. And so, I thank God for that technology and, for people being able to be exposed. Yeah, so.
Cool. Well, we're just about out of time. I know, in our first podcast, I asked you the question about, the subtitle is Many Little People in Many Little Places Do Many Little Things That Make the Whole World Change. And you answered the question then, but I'm going to ask it to you again today. What are some of the little things that Anthony Henderson's doing in this world to make it a better place?
Every Wednesday, I have a podcast called Wake Up Wednesdays. Okay, I go on 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time live every single Wednesday. And it's just motivational, inspirational, whatever I'm led to teach or speech or talk about in that particular week. Once a month, I have a guest. So I give whoever, business owners, whomever, an opportunity to share their platform, share their products and their services. That's another thing I do. But this quarter, my book will be coming out. Okay, and so be on the lookout for that. So that's what I'm doing for my little corner of the world.
Yeah. So tell my listeners, how can they tune into that website, all that fun stuff?
Excellent. My contact information. My name is Anthony Henderson. I'm on pretty much every social media platform except for Twitter, except the little bird. On Instagram, I'm Speaker Extraordinaire. Okay, just like it sounds, Speaker Extraordinaire. On Facebook, I'm my name, Anthony Henderson, or Inspiration Station, which is the name of my company. If you go to Inspiration Station, you'll see a guy that looks like me. And it's actually me, it's not my twin. Okay, Inspiration Station. LinkedIn, Anthony Henderson, same thing. My website, and it just got redone. My agent 45, Georgie Jorgensen, he did an amazing job. It's inspirationstation.biz, B-I-Z, just like it sounds. Inspirationstation.biz is my website. You can go there. You can get my products. I have t-shirts, I have CDs, I have download cards. The book will be on there soon. You can see some of my training topics and things that I speak on. If you want me to come and speak to your staff, your company, your church, whatever, your synagogue, whatever the case may be, you can go there. And that's and my email address is anthony@inspirationstation.biz, B-I-Z. And my phone number, you can call or text me anytime, is 320-2UPLIFT, 320-287-5438.
Cool. Anthony, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
it. I'm glad we finally got to meet in person. Lunch was great.
I'm on the couch, y'all. Mama, I made it.
So, folks, to check out other blogs and podcasts of mine, be sure to go to danclouser.com. Again, Anthony, thanks a lot, and look forward to more of these every time we're in South Florida.
Absolutely.
All right.